Let's see if this will work.
Hello, can anybody hear us? We're going to wait just a little bit longer. We had little technical difficulties getting the live going.
Sue, thanks for your question. We will make sure to address that before we are done. Liz can hear us. Lisa can hear us. Terry's here from Alaska. That's so awesome. What's your weather like, Terry? What's anybody's weather like?
Hello, we're on the Oregon coast in our RV here, so
Hopefully the dog won't bounce around too much
yeah,
in the background.
he's looking out the window right now.
Terry says it's rainy and cool in Alaska. Lori says it's icky. I forget where you are, Lori. You're in California, aren't you? Lisa says it's cloudy, but there's no rain or snow yet. Kathleen says, is there sound? There is, but only if we manage to talk, which we weren't doing for a while. So hopefully that's working better. I know at least some people have heard us. We are on the Oregon coast, and it was supposed to be sunny here today, and it was not. But it is cool and since it's 100 degrees back home in Phoenix, we'll take that.
It's nice here.
It's lovely in southeast Michigan for Liz. I bet it is. Northern California for Lori. There's Rachel. I know what it's like where Rachel is. So this is our very first time attempting any kind of an interactive event. We probably, if we'd given it much more thought, we probably wouldn't have done a Facebook Live, but would have chosen something that would let you guys talk as well, because I don't think there's going to be all that many of us that would be hard to do. But we were just kind of trying to figure out how to best present some of the new things that Doug has put together that are a little bit more complicated to use than the things that we've been doing. And Facebook Live came to mind, and we said, oh, what the heck, let's do that. So in the future, when we do something interactive, I think chances are good that we will try what Google Meet was, that kind of looking like
Possibly,
a strong possibility, very similar to the features of Zoom, just not the cost of Zoom. So that'll be good too. As we get going here, I'll keep an eye on the chat, the text, your questions, and then Doug can present and answer them. Is kind of how that works. So, for anybody who doesn't already know us, we're Doug and Christy Murdoch. I'm the Christy part. He's the Doug part. And
in case you didn't know.
And We Smell Better grew out of early frustration that I had that I couldn't find out stats on how my poodle stacked up in AKC scent work. And I whined about it long enough that Doug said, well, if the AKC isn't going to publish the information in a usable fashion, why don't I scrape it and provide that for you? And I said, well, if you're going to do it for me, why don't you do it for everybody? Um, and so we that was what we decided to do with Demo Dog Database. And that was February of last year, March of last year, I think
Yep.
was when we went live with that. And that was basically we published all the reports on a weekly basis and people had to go look at them. And it was in the fall that we switched over to making it a more real-time site where a lot of the functionality actually runs in the background. And that's where we'll get to the earlier question about can you update it more frequently? Um, but that's what the website is intended to do is to basically as soon as the AKC makes the information available, then that night we go harvest it and make it available here. So that's what we've been doing just for the fun of it. We're a couple of retirees and we live in Arizona during the winter months, and then in the summer we take off in the motorhome and go someplace where it's cooler than where it is where Rachel is right now, who is one of my Arizona trialing friends. So that's how we came to be here, um, and who we are, and all of that kind of good stuff, and what we've got planned for the future with interactive events. Doug will go through an agenda for this, but I think basically I will turn this over to him and so that he can kind of go through the new My Stuff features, and we will go from there. And I'll get your questions and funnel them over to him. And I hope that that's everything that you want.
At least we're going to give this a shot here. Get situated here. Okay, the agenda, we just got basically a few things to go through. The first couple are just some general stuff, and then we'll get into some of the new features. So the first one is basically when do the results actually show up in your reports? And we'll kind of briefly go over how that is processed. Excuse me. And also why you should sign up as a user on the site, what that gives you. And then we'll go over the new features dealing with packs, my trials, and trial entries for entering in desired future trials or past trials where you can then put in your NQs if you wanted, and then my notes, and then my judges. And then at the end, we should have, I think, plenty of time to ask any questions you may have. And please ask as we go along here. You know, it's kind of weird just talking to the computer here and not getting any feedback. Okay, so when do results show up in the reports? Um, it's really whenever the AKC publishes them. So we run a nightly process that will go out and query the website, the AKC website, and we'll go through any trials that we've imported that we don't have results for. And so I think right now there's maybe 1,000 or so trials that are mostly in the future. But we'll go through all those trials and see if there's any results posted or changes to the actual trial, like whether the trial was maybe in a pending state and now it's in an active state, or maybe the trial has been canceled. And normally the AKC is about 2 weeks behind posting results. Lately, it's been more than that. I think a couple weeks ago they were about a month behind, but it was running about 2 weeks behind. And so you will get results if they're posted during the day, that the nightly process will pick those up, and then in the morning you'll be able to run the reports and see those new results. In addition to that, 2 times a week, we will kind of do a look back and reprocess trial results for the past. We picked 75 days. I picked 75 days, which is basically about 2 months plus the 2 weeks that they're behind in. And so it appears that the AKC goes back in and modifies the results of trials. And so this is the hopes to go back and pick up some of those changes. It takes a fair amount of time to go through that. And so we don't go back more than the 2 months at this point. But if you see that something has changed, or you know that you've contacted the AKC for a trial that's maybe 4 months ago, and they made a change for you, just let us know, and then I can rerun that trial individually, and then those results would get updated. And then each night after we go out and query the AKC website and get all the results or any other changes, we will go and reprocess all the results and generate titles for everybody and high and trial. So all titles are recalculated every day or every night. The high and trial as well. And just so you know, the high and trial is never reported by the AKC. So these are calculated high and trials, looking at the run times in the results, and then we calculate that who has got the high and trial. That may differ from the day of the trial. It's hard to say. Anybody have any questions on that?
So far, the only question that has come in was Sue Sutton, who was asking if can updates be posted more frequently, or are you at the mercy of the AKC posting?
We are at the mercy of the AKC. Technically, we could run the process during the day, but we don't know when they actually will make the update that shows up on their website. And so we try to do it in the middle of the night so that we don't overwhelm their site. So that's kind of why we do it. We do it. I start the process about midnight Phoenix time, and sometimes it takes a couple hours to do. Sometimes it doesn't take that long, maybe only 45 minutes or so. But it's every day. If they post the results, you'll get it the next day.
That's all we've got for questions on that so far. So how about my stuff?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
You're jumping ahead.
Where's the agenda? Why you should sign up. Doug, why should they sign up?
Okay. The reason you want to sign up, there's A few reasons. One is you'll get a recently used items when you're searching for dogs or searching for breeds or clubs in all the reports. So we keep track of your 10 most recent um, usages of a dog or a breed or a club. Um, and so if you search on a bunch of other dogs, you know, your oldest searched dog may drop off that list, but it'll always show the most recent 10 items, either dogs, breeds, or clubs. So that's a big one. Uh, the next one is if you do in your trial finder search by location and you have to put in your zip code, if you sign up and log in, and I'll show you here in a moment, there's an area where you can put in your zip code. And you can always overwrite it when you go to the trial finder. Let me just show you over here. Allison here is logged in. If you click on the hello, your name drop down, you go to modify my information. And this is where you can put your zip code. So whatever zip code you put in there will now be the default when you go to Trial Finder and search by location. So it's just kind of a quick way. If you're, if you got a home zip code and that's where you always want to search from, this helps you from not having to type that in each time. But that's under the modify my information once you're logged in. The other thing is when you're able to log in, you've signed up and logged in, you can access the packs, and we're going to go over that here in just a moment. And then all the My Stuff, which is this, really clever name here for all the other stuff that we're talking about here.
I like it.
And then if you're a judge, we have a couple of judges' reports that you can request judge access. One thing I want to stress, and most people have been doing pretty good with this lately, but when you sign up, or if you know someone else is signing up, you'll get an email to confirm your email address is correct. So it may be in your spam filter. It's hard to say, but just make sure you go check that, and there'll be a link in that email that you'll need to click. You'll come to the site, and then there's a button that says confirm. And until you do that, you can't log in. Any questions with logging in or signing up? It,
Nothing is coming in as far as questions go. I should write down what things as I think of it, but no.
Anybody, I hope everybody can see the screen okay. And all right, next thing we're going to talk about is packs. And initially I put this out as my packs, my team packs, and my club packs. Lately I added my dogs, and that's really just a special kind of my packs. My dogs and my packs are private to the user who creates them. My team packs are something you can create, like a training team. You might want to have all your dogs, and anybody can join that team and see all the dogs in that team. And my club packs are basically packs that a club may want to associate with their club. So if a club maybe gives off awards or gives out awards at the end of the year, they could put in all the club's dogs, and then they could run a report that says like new titles and for the club's pack and be able to see all those without getting everyone's input. I'm going to go a quick demonstration of that. Um, but the main thing here is my dogs and my packs are private to the user. My team and my club packs are really public packs. Anybody can really see them if they join. So all the pack information is under my dogs and my packs. If we go into my dogs, and my dogs are a special pack, and you'll need to create that for any of the features that are down here that we're going to be talking about next. My trials, my notes, and my judges. So clicking on my dogs, you basically will add whatever dogs you want to put into your, should be your dogs. Technically, there's no restriction on what dogs you can put in there. So if I wanted to search for another dog and I add AJ's best bud, now AJ's best bud is now up in my dogs. And if I run a report, like under achievements, I can do a pack achievement report for my dogs and I see those dogs. It's easy to add, it's easy to remove. You really don't lose anything if you add and remove your dogs to the pack. The other main thing I would strongly suggest is to add a call name to your My Dogs. That will help when we get into my trials, and it kind of shortens up a drop-down box. If it's just the normal AKC registered name, it gets quite long, and especially if you're on a phone, it's going to be very tight. So it's really easy to modify your call name. Just put it what it is, you save it, and you're done.
Question for you. Is that call name also just private to me as the user?
It is not private. It is public. So when someone runs a report, it may show that. When you're, let's say, on the home page and you've got the most recent titles, you'll see here we have the call name of Scotty for this particular dog. So it shows up everywhere. It's a good question. Anything else
Nope.
on my dogs? I'm going to quickly go over my packs. The create a pack. Again, my packs is personal. The team is a public. Club's a public. And you just give it a name. Has to be unique. If it's a my pack, then it's just unique for you. So other people could have the same pack name, but it's private to you, so it doesn't really matter. Team packs and club packs have to be unique across all. So I'm not going to create one right now. For team packs, you could create a team pack if you didn't have one, or you could join an existing team. And we're gonna join this team. Now you see the team now is in my team packs, and I can view everyone who's in there, and I can manage what dogs are in that pack. And anybody can add whatever dogs you want to put in there. Again, there's no restrictions. Also, anybody can remove a dog. So we kind of have to play nice here. Um, and the club packs are the kind of the same way. You just have to look up a club. Uh, Sorry. Let's try that again. These are all the club packs that are there. If there was a lot, you could look it up. Otherwise, you don't really need to look up. I forgot about that. Again, it's joining it is just like joining a team. Um, it's pretty much the same. Okay, now we're going to get into my trials, notes, and judges. Hopefully I'm not flipping through these screens too fast that you're not seeing what I'm pointing at. If you are, please put a comment in and I'll slow down a little bit. So for my trials, this will show you all the trials that you have results posted. So for everything, all your dogs and my dogs. If I only wanted to see Ziva's trials, those are the dogs, or those are the trials that Ziva has trialed and has results. So it's a really nice way to be able to see what you've done and see your results. So if this was a trial that we just got results in, I can click on here and you'll see all the classes. Okay, none of the dogs have been entered in those classes, but here, excellent container. We have Gabe was entered in that. So your dog will be bolded, will be highlighted. And it'll show your time compared to everybody else and the placement and so on. And basically it'll show you all the classes that you queued in. If this was a trial that you didn't qualify in, you have an option to, let's say, put Gabe in here as he was entered in the advanced interior, but he never qualified. And so non-qualifying runs don't show up in the AKC results. So we don't get to see those. So we can't automatically populate that. But if you know that you have, this is your opportunity to put that in. So this is going to be an NQ for Gabe for that class. And you can put those in wherever you want. You can go back in all your other trials and go back if you knew which ones were NQ'd, because we've added a new option in the achievement reports to actually show that. And I'll show that here in just a moment. So just from a usability point of view here, once you expand a trial, you can just click it again. And so expand and kind of show and hide it. The other thing that is kind of new is you'll see the headings are have an underscore on them. They're now links. So those are indication that you can sort on those. You also see this in Trial Finder now. So if I wanted to sort by location, now I see it'll sort by state and then city. So Apache Junction, Arizona is the first one here. And again, you got the same, you can see all the results for that trial. Again, your dogs, whatever dogs you have in my dogs will show up as bolded. If I'm only looking at Ziva and I expand this, Ziva is the only one that's going to show up. If Gabe wouldn't have been in this trial, but if he had, it wouldn't have highlighted. The other new thing that you probably have seen here on the screen is the notes. So there's a little notes link, and it's on the club, it's on the location, and if we expand, let me go down to this one. If we expand it, you'll see again, here's the location. This notes and that note is the same. If I click on it, I can put a note in here about the location. So I can put whatever I want. You know, at the day of the trial, you can put little notes in here if you want, and then you'll be able to refer to those later. Also, for any judges that you showed under, whether it was an NQ or a Q, you'll see the judge also has a note. So this judge has notes, and we don't actually have a note in here, but I could, you know, type something maybe. And save it. And you can always go in and change it, do whatever. But the one thing you also notice, we have this little like icon and a favorite icon. So if you like the judge for that trial, you know, you can click it. If it's your favorite judge, you can click the heart. And it's like, well, what are we going to use that for? The favorite is eventually we're going to add in Trial Finder that you could also filter on future trials with your favorite judges if you're looking for that. But it'll also show up when we get over to My Judges. We also have notes for the class. So this would be maybe some notes about how the run went for that particular class. You know, what went well, what didn't go well. Again, you could use that for training if you wanted to afterwards. Under the trial, we also have this show all the trial notes. If you click on that, you'll see all the notes that you have for the trial. A club note, a location note, any class notes, and then all your judges' notes. So lots of different notes. You can use or not use them. Any questions on the notes? Or
Lisa asked who could see the notes.
good question. All the notes are private to you. Only you can see the notes. So whatever you put in there, whether they're the club notes, the location, the class, or the judge's notes, the likes, the favorites, all those indications and notes are private to you only. Um, so
Maybe look at an achievement report and see what the NQs look like.
I can do that. So we're going to look at achievement report, and we're going to look at Gabe's, let's say. And if you're logged in and you have My Dogs, this new entry, this new checkbox will show. It says include non-qualified entries. And now if we click that and we generate the report and we scroll down, here you can see we have an NQ there. And for each class, we also have a pass rate. So if, assuming you actually put in all your NQs, you could actually see an accurate pass rate. Otherwise, it'll just be all 100%. So that's for each class. And then at the end, I give a overall pass rate here at the end of the report. So again, that checkbox will report those NQs. If you don't want to see the NQs in your report, just don't check the box.
Or don't enter them.
Or don't enter them.
And again, you are the only person who's going to see the NQs. Nobody else can see those besides you. We're not going to tabulate those. We're not going to share that information with anybody. That is exclusive to you. Entering them was not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I mostly used trial confirmation and trial results emails from secretaries to identify situations where, like what classes did I enter at that trial, because I could see from the AKC results when I queued. So if I just knew what I entered, then I could see when I NQ'd there as well. And it really only took a few hours to figure out for two dogs who have been trialing for several years. So it's been really interesting.
And I'm going to go through how you can do future trials. So if you just entered a trial and you know what classes you've entered, you can go ahead and record that here and not have to wait to the end. One other thing about these reports, obviously you can run an achievement report for any dog, but you can't see the NQs for any other dogs but My Dogs. So no one else can run the report and select that checkbox. It won't be there. So only you'll get to see the report, and you can share it if you want, but it's private to you. So let's say we're going to enter a future trial, and let's say it's this one here, Superstition Kennel Club, on December 5th. If I expand that to see the classes that are being offered, there's this new checkbox here. And it's basically, again, this checkbox doesn't show unless you've got My Dogs. So it's important to get My Dogs, at least one dog in there, and then you'll have this option. Once I select that, now if I go back to my trials, that trial is now shown here, December 5th, Superstition Kennel Club. Now I can click that. Well, this is not a great example, but there's only one class. And we're going to say I've entered Gabe. So now, whether Gabe passes or doesn't pass, I've recorded that. If he doesn't qualify, it's automatically an NQ when you run the reports. So going forward, you can just go ahead and add those trials that you're entering in the future and the classes that you decide you want to go into. Just remember though, at the trials, if you do a move up or something, that make sure you go in and change your entries. Otherwise, your NQs will be for the wrong thing. The other thing that isn't quite not implemented yet is these future trials. And you can see the future trials here. I'm going to allow you to indicate whether you want email alerts. And so these future trials, you could indicate that. So whenever this opening date for this Superstition Kennel Club is November 1st, I would want to get an email 2 days prior to that or 1 day prior to that. And once you configure that, then basically it's X number of days prior to the opening date, the closing date, or the trial date. The system will automatically generate an email for you. That's a feature that's coming soon-ish. Also, I'm going to have an email that if a result got posted through the nightly process for one of your My Dogs, then you'll also get an email indicating that, hey, you got a new result for this trial. And all those, you only get one email. So if multiples of these things happen at the same day, it'll get all in one email and get sent to you. Anyway, that's coming attractions.
Lisa's question was, what's the AKC link?
The AKC link is going to go to the AKC, basically this page here. So it'll go to the AKC trial page. I would have clicked it, but it would go to a different tab that I don't think you'd be able to see, but maybe. Oh, you can see it. Okay. So you can see that all the stuff that AKC, this page is basically what the system goes and looks at to generate that data. So if you ever want to know what the real AKC data looks like, you can just hit that link over there.
So that puts us at about 1/4 till.
Okay, I've got a couple more things we'll go through quick because they don't really take too long. And that is My Notes. And this basically is a summary of all your notes. And it's broken out into the 4 different types of notes: club notes, location notes, judge notes, class notes. So if I want to look at class notes, you'll see for scent work master exterior, we've got 3 notes in there. so I can kind of see what trial it was and so on and so on. Got a lot of sirens coming here. I don't know what the deal is. Um,
Oh, that's just crazy.
we have law enforcement came to the park that we're at. Huh.
Do you need to go and deal with this guy?
Uh, I don't. I'm.
What do you want me to do?
Nah.
My notes?
Let me go through this real quick, and then you can do the answer. I can't get in the middle of that.
Okay.
I'm the park host at this park, so it's my day off, and it's an exciting day off, I guess.
Sorry about that, everybody.
So basically, my notes uh, basically will show you all the notes that you've entered in, and you can sort it by location, or if you want it by trial date. So you can do that for each one of these. I can look at all the judges' notes, and it shows whether I did a thumbs up on it, or if I got it's my favorite, so on. And then we get into my judges, and my judges um, is basically a summary of all the judges that you have shown under. And so you'll get lists of all the judges and how many classes that judge judged for you, how many likes and how many favorites or how many notes, and then whether it was one of your favorites or not. Again, in the heading here, we've got these links. So if I wanted to see what was the judge that I've shown under the most, I just hit that link here and it sorts. If you want to sort by name, number of likes, want to see all my favorites. I'm sure I zipped through that too quick and you may not have seen all that, but so my judges really works without any of your interaction. So once you get your My Dogs in, My Trials, you'll see all your past trials and you'll see all your judges that you've trialed under. I think that might be it. And then, like I talked about, my alerts will be that alerts future feature that's where that will be when I get it done.
So Lisa had asked earlier whether you could also get alerts about new reporting information when things had updated with your dogs. And that would be
Yeah,
available through there as well, right?
yeah. So any dog that's in your My Dogs, anytime a new result gets posted and we see it, we've gathered it from AKC, you'll get an email that next morning. So you don't have to go out there and search and run the report time after time, just hoping that your result will show up. So I think that'll be a time saver for you guys.
So my alerts is one of the things that are upcoming. Another thing that is upcoming is some refinement, I guess, to some of the summary reports. So Liz asked, I've seen the most cues report. Is there a way to generate that per breed? And right now that there's not, but we would like to do some brainstorming about some of the summary information. While I'm opposed to drilling down too closely, because I really want to avoid finger pointing at things, I do think that there are statistics and quantifications that are really meaningful and useful. And so we do want to brainstorm, and so anybody who has ideas about things like that, please send them our way. Um, Being able to do most cues by breed is definitely one. We also talked about kind of doing more with pass rates regionally, by class, um, by state, uh, things like that. So kind of drilling down a little bit more than we have done with some of the summary reporting. And then lastly, after I have entered my NQs, I find that there's more information that I want about how my dog performed versus the other dogs in the class, and kind of looking at that across multiple trials. And so, my idea about doing that is to put my dog's time as a ratio against the fastest dog in the class. Maybe take into consideration the maximum time for the class, if it's one of those where that can change possibly, and see what those numbers look like, if those are meaningful. So that's something else that's coming up. So I think the only other question that we had was one about, Michelle was just looking for, kind of the basics, how to run an achievement report. Is that maybe something I could take over and you could deal with
Nope,
law enforcement? No?
nope. I'm not. I don't know what's going on there. They don't need any more spectators. Um,
So let's do an achievement report for Michelle.
but
Go.
before we do that,
Okay.
I want to do. You've probably already seen this, but the pack achievements. So whenever you do, the, if you've got a pack, your My Dogs is a pack, you'll be able to do these pack achievement reports. So there's a pack achievements, there's a pack new titles, and a pack first titles. And at the bottom, usually you have to pick your packs. So if you've only got My Dogs, then that's probably all you're going to see. If you got other packs, then you just pick whatever pack you want to do. And then once you pick that, and then whatever you want to see in your report, when you generate it, you'll get, in this case, we've got Ziva's report and we got Gabe's report. So you got a report that has both dogs in there. Okay, now we go back to the achievement. So the achievement report, first thing you gotta do is find the dog. It's okay. Is to find the dog that you want to do the achievement report for. And if you know the AKC number, you could put that in. If you know their registered name, you could put part of their registered name in. You could put their call name in. You could put in the owner's last name. I try to limit it to last name, just because you never know how the actual owner's name is represented in the AKC data. So last name is pretty safe. So if we put in Murdoch, for instance, we're doing that one. Once you hit search, you will see you got 5 dogs were found. There's 2 of them by owner's name There's a Gideon dog's name, or two of them. So you'll get a whole list of dogs, um, and we will limit that list to 50. So if you get more than 50, then you need to kind of, and it's not in there, you try to um, kind of narrow your search a little bit more. So once you determine what dog you want, we'll do Joker's Crazy. And again, Joker's Crazy is not one of my dogs, so I don't get to see the NQs for that dog, so that option isn't even presented. And you can turn these on or off. The default is always on, and you can generate the report on a per year basis or all years, and you can order the titles and cues differently depending on how you want it.
For this example, why don't you pick the last order where it actually shows titles or cues in the date that they were earned, so it mixes all the classes up? That one's cool. I like that one.
Okay, so we did titles in date order and cues in date order. So you can see all the titles are in date order. And now the cues are all in date order as well. No longer separated by class, but there's a class column in there now.
So hopefully, Michelle, I don't know if you're still with us, but hopefully that helps a little bit with kind of how to do it. I can work with you offline about it too. Happy to do that. But that brings us up to almost exactly an hour.
Any other questions or things you'd like changed or things you don't understand? If we did another one, a topic you'd like it to be on?
And again, this is not optimal with just the commenting, I know. So we'll figure out a way to do something where we can be more interactive.
And if you got any concerns or questions or suggestions, you can email us at WeSmellBetterScentWork@gmail.com.
Well, I'm not seeing any more questions, so I think maybe that's it.
Thanks everybody who's still actually here and
We really appreciate it.
listening
Thanks
to
so
me
much.
rambling on.
We had a really good time.
Thanks everybody.
Take care.
Bye.